Hello, welcome. We are just waiting for the feed to fill so we can get going live. And I'm just sharing the link if my computer kind of settles down. And I encourage you to do the same. Oh, yes, sorry. We will come and say hello to everyone individually right after we've done all of the intros. Please press your share buttons now while we are populating the feed. I'm just sharing the link. Oh, yes, sorry. And now I am opening it in a new page. Apparently, some people play a drinking game when I say, oh, yes, sorry. So maybe I should say it a little less often. And not encourage you guys to drink out there. Here we go. We are getting ready. Hello to everyone in the live feed. I will be coming right to you, right at you. We're just waiting for the feeds to populate so we can get the Xander Gibb show started. And I'm just going to share the show in the groups. So if you could do the same, I would be absolutely grateful for you to do that. Oh, yes, three. Share to group. And I have to watch when I'm doing this because often I'm sharing it to groups that I'm not supposed to be sharing it to, like the local refuse complaints page where I live, Grandmothers Anonymous, and groups that are totally unrelated to what we're trying to do. And I think it's quite funny because people get rather worried. Hi guys, I will come and say hello to you very soon, I promise. They get very kind of concerned if you post in their group and it's not 250% pertaining to what you're doing or what they're doing even. Fly tipping in my local area, they don't like me to post my show in there. So click that share button. I just posted it. Sorry, wrong group. I think that is about it. Don't you hate it when you're posting to groups and you find on an iPhone, you click upwards and you get all of the control stuff that you really don't want to see. We are nearly there. We are really nearly ready to get started. Click your share buttons now. Share as in share the show, not share as in do you believe in life after love? Whoa. Can't resist doing share impersonations, but those of you who know me will know why. There we go. I think that's it. Let's share it in that conservative group too. You see, what I need is an assistant that will share for me. Apparently they won't let Chet share in any Facebook groups. I wonder, did he miss a comma or a full stop, or what are they penalizing him for now? That is it. We are shared. We are all shared. I'm just going to go to the there is some kind of big snowflake symbol on the screen. I don't know if you guys are seeing that too, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, we're going to start the show. We are going to go to opening titles in 5, 4, 3, 2, roll VT.
Life, it has been good to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when it was found.
Hello, and welcome to the Xander Gibb Show with me, Xander Gibb, because, of course, who else would I be on the Xander Gibb Show, bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting. On today's show, I get on my soapbox and give you the chance to get on yours too. In our phone in, UK Big Brothers Jeff Christian joins us, and Christian Saucier, wrongly imprisoned Navy Marine, drops by to let us know how he's doing. You can have your say in the field below, if I can pronounce my words properly, because I've got the wrong teeth in tonight. I'm breaking them in for a horse. You can call when we get to that section. You can see the number on your screen, 845-363-4747. If you're in the USA or via Skype, you can Skype me at Xander Gibb. If you're anywhere else on the planet, I will, of course, be on the Joe Messina Show later. The real side, 7 o'clock Pacific time, which is about 10 o'clock on the East Coast from memory. And you can also follow me on social media and check me out at Xander Gibb, because that's my name. So as you can tell, I'm furious this week, to say the least, that Nutty Nancy and the demented Democrats have the audacity to impeach my president on hearsay and hate with absolutely zero evidence whatsoever, and the dumb have treated this as a criminal offense. Now, where have we come to in 2020 when a president who has done an excellent job, improved the fiscal position of the United States, and has generally made America a better place to be, can be treated this way? Now, I don't know where this is going to go next week, because I'm not sure I trust the Republicans. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not sure that I do. But I am hoping that they will do the right thing and to throw this in the trash that it is, and on those who have brought this phony impeachment on him will be brought to task for doing so. Now, we all have to come together now around the president and ensure we give him our best support, prayers, and anything we can do to support him, basically, because right now he really needs it. Now, I'm aghast that it takes that all it takes in America now is for an alcoholic to listen to hearsay and interpret that into qualifying matter for impeachment. But let's break this down a little further, because we all know that this is to cover up the money laundering in the Ukraine of Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and John Kerry. 3 senior Democrats who are so damn dishonest that they wouldn't know honesty if it bit them on their tired, dishonest, dementing asses. Now, I'm hoping that Republicans will prove me wrong next week and will back the president and will throw this ridiculous accusation out without investigating it further, because none is warranted. Now, we do not need this level of dishonesty in our upper echelons of leadership. Something needs to change, or democracy will be dead in the water. I am urging you, get on the phone on Monday, call your Republican senators and tell them, if you don't back the Donald, we're not backing you. This is the point it's got to, folks. We have to tell our senators and representatives in the United States, if they don't back Donald Trump, we will not be backing them in the election. Now, I am going to throw this open to the phone lines in a moment so I can find out what you think. But I first of all want to say hello to everybody in the live feed. Hello to Joe, who's in Florida. Hello to Chet, who is in Long Island. Hello to Dave. Welcome. Hello to everybody else. I can't see. Hello to Shelly. Welcome to the show. Hello to Ron. Hello to CV. Hello to everyone else that's listening, but not in the live feed. Come and join us. We don't bite, but you may get a nasty suck. Oh, woe betide if you start slagging off my president today, because I'm in the mood to kick some butt. So we're going to take our calls now. 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. Call us now. Tell us what you think about this BS impeachment. Let us know what you think is going to happen next week. Are the Republicans going to throw it out, or are they going to uphold it and investigate it? And will that be the death of democracy? 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. Call us now. Wouldn't it be great if when I said call us now, the phone rang like right away? 845-363-4747. What else did I want to tell you? Yes, next week is a very important day for me on Wednesday. I go for my weigh-in and my physical. So please send me your prayers for that. It is kind of something that makes me very anxious, even though I'm doing very well with, we have a call. It's not letting me. Oh, here we go. Hi, you're live on the Xander Gibb Show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Xander Gibb, it's Chet Martin.
Hi, Chet. How are you? I didn't recognize your number. It came up as 0898. I thought it was one of those dirty chat lines calling me.
How? I can be if you want.
No, we'll save that for another show. We'll save that for your show this weekend. Okay. So what's your response to all this, first of all, and what do you think is going to happen next week?
I don't know. I am worried because I heard Rand Paul on Fox News. I forgot, maybe he was on Tucker Carlson, but he said that he's worried that there's going to be some trouble in the Senate right now.
Right.
And I don't know, because there's going to be repercussions if the Republicans pull the rug out from under Donald Trump's feet.
Right.
Are they that corrupt in order to do so? We know some of them are.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen. I am worried right now because, 2 weeks ago I would have told you there's nothing to worry about. But as it gets closer, I think it's only natural for his supporters to kind of sweat it out.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, but I am worried. I am worried now that Rand Paul came out with that little bit of information. So I guess we're going to have to hold our breath. And as always, I'll be praying for the president, as you do.
Yeah.
And just, show our support and make sure you write to your Congress and your senators and you tell them that they do not go forward with this in any way whatsoever right now.
No, because I feel, although he's assembled, the top legal brains, some of the top legal brains in the country, none of this kind of takes into account how devious the Democrats are. And when I saw that raging alcoholic had spent taxpayers' money and getting pens with her name on to sign each letter of her name differently. I mean, this woman really, when we're talking about impeachment, why are we actually not looking right now at the money laundering in the Ukraine with these top three Democrats? Because this is a cover-up. And I tell you this for nothing. If this goes through, I'm afraid there's going to be a civil war in the United States.
But there will be, because then we'll have nobody to blame but ourselves. If the Republicans do what Rand Paul is talking about, we won't have any of these unsavory characters from their side testifying. They'll be protected.
Right.
When everything that they're basically trying to stick to our duly elected president, who, by the way, has the best economy that we've ever seen. Jobs are through the roof. He's defeated ISIS, and they want to impeach him. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
That's Xander, that's the insanity of all this. He's doing a damn good job as president of the United States, and I'm proud to say that I support my president. And I'm proud to say that most of my friends support my president. We need to get behind him. We don't let our foot off the gas. More than ever before, we do it on social media, and we do it everywhere that we go.
Right. Now, I don't know about you, but I, you know about my pottered political past and that I used to be a Democrat many moons ago, and then I was a libertarian.
A lot of people were, yeah.
I became a Republican for Donald Trump, and if the Republicans turn their back on Donald Trump, I will leave the Republican Party for sure, without even considering it, because I became a Republican to support in support of Donald Trump. So for them to not be supporting him now will create a huge defection. I mean, I don't know where we go, but I don't know. Maybe it's time for a third party in this two-party system.
Well, take a look at the dichotomy when you look at Republican ideas like President Trump's, with a thriving economy, defeating terrorists, all that good stuff. And then take a peek at what's going on over here in New York with Governor Cuomo, with his bail reform, where just last weekend, on a road that I take my children on every day, William Floyd Parkway, there was some son of a gun who got back on the road the very same day he was pulled over
Right.
for smoking crack, and he got on that road and he killed a father of three.
Wow.
There are people dying in New York, and nobody over here, none of the Democrats or liberals, will stand up to this punk, but they're complaining about President Trump when he's doing an excellent job.
Exactly. I pray for the day when New York goes Republican. I really do, because the people of New York, like the city and the state, are being done a disservice, by these jokes, by Fredo's brother, by D. Blizzardio. We got to leave it there, but tell us very quickly who's on the show this weekend.
It's gotten a little bit thrown up in the air because we were going to have Alan Dershowitz on. However, he can't come on till next weekend. So right now I'm scrambling. I will have some very good guests with us. And one of them, as a matter of fact, by the name of Sherilyn Kenyon, is a New York Times best-selling author, but we're not bringing her on to talk about a book. We're bringing her on to talk about how her husband has now sabotaged her career and basically destroyed her life. It's a sad story, and we're going to talk about it on Sunday with her.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to that. And thank you so much for calling, Chet. Have a wonderful weekend. Please remind people on your show to call their senators to tell them to back the Donald, or we're not backing them at all.
I will, Xander.
Thanks,
I will.
brother.
God
Take
bless.
care. You too. Bye-bye. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on. Make sure you check his show this weekend, 3 o'clock Eastern for 2 hours. My first guest tonight is a singer, a writer, an actor, TV presenter, and famously co-hosted Big Brother in the UK, and the equally salubrious X-Red Live with someone called Xander Gibb, who, vaguely, jogs my memory just a little bit. And he's going to join us very soon, talking a bit about royal gossip and so much more. Oh, yes, Serene. There's another one. You can take another drink. And don't forget, stick around because we have Christian Saucier, who's joining us in the second part of the show. As you'll remember, Christian was the Navy sailor who was jailed for having 6 selfies on his cell phone and treated absolutely terribly, incarcerated, took away a year of his life, and Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails and is still possibly going to be running for president again this time. So make sure you stick around for that. My guest should be calling in any moment so we can have a chat to him. I'm sure you remember, Jeff, he used to be my co-host on the show before. So please join me in welcoming back to the Xander Gibb Show, the one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Jeff Christian. Hello, Jeff. How is the world with you? Hello. I think we lost his call. He will call us back momentarily. Skype is being a little crap tonight. Here we go. Let's try answering the call again. This egg timer thingy is going. Welcome back to the show, Jeff. Can you hear me?
I came in. Hi, Xander.
Hi, welcome back. How are you? It's great to have you. Now, I was thinking today, how long is it since we broadcast together on X-Res Live? It's got to be 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, nightmares have that way of repeating on you, don't they? Like, people say this about working with me and refer to me as that bitch. I'm joking, obviously, because Jeff and I, it was. We interviewed some really great people. We had some wonderful guests that just kind of were really memorable. And afterwards, we were like, did we really just interview that person? You know, classic radio. Classic radio. So I know you've been doing so much in the interim, and I do want to talk about that. But before we jump into that, I want to ask you about is there any truth in the rumor that you've been asked to take Prince Harry's place in the royal family and be Prince Jeff HRH? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure you could take your pick because they don't want Meghan, and that's for sure.
Well, it's kind of sad. I mean, before you get into the mechanics of it all, I think that to see people that are so unsure and unhappy, whoever they are, or whatever level, or whatever, if you still believe in the class system, or if you're a royalist or a Republican, at the end of the day, I just think it's sad when people are unhappy. And it's very easy to throw stones when you're doing it via social media.
Right.
Perhaps if you're writing a newspaper article as a journalist, it's very, very easy to pull this apart and pull that apart to get a reaction from other people, which is really what it's about. But ultimately, you're talking about somebody at their life and their emotions and their feelings. And the fact that they pulled away, I think, is enough to show that, they're not going to put up with it. Remember, of course, Harry had all this with his mother, although he was very young at the time. Of course, historically, he knows what happened and what it was like for her. And it seems as though they just put their foot down and said, no, we're not going to have this.
Right.
They flipped a finger at the British press, who in some cases, to be fair, I think probably deserved it, and said, no, we're not having this. We're going to go and we're going to spend our time perhaps mostly in Canada. I mean, as you probably know, in the UK and in the States as well, the whole story is still unfolding. We don't really know all of the facts, and perhaps there's certain things we really will know completely. But I just think it's kind of sad that they felt as though they needed to do that. That's upsetting that they feel as though they've been forced into that point. Whether you agree they haven't, or whether you think, they were privileged and they should just have to put up with it because that's what goes with the job. It's still just not very nice, It's kind of leaves a sickly feeling in your stomach to think that can still happen in this day and age. It's so very naive almost, So it is kind of sad, but it will be interesting to see how it unfolds. But it looks as though they're probably going to be spending a lot more time in Canada on that side of the water than they are here.
Do you
But
think
we just need to wait and see.
do you think she bit off more than she could chew with the British media? Because I kind of think she told them too much of her personal feelings, and I think that pissed the palace off, to be honest.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I mean, I think they were trying to be genuine and trying to be honest. And what we've noticed with the excuse me, with the four royals, the Fab Four as they were calling them, being of course William and Kate. William is going to be king, of course, and Kate will be his queen, and then of course Harry and Meghan. And I think they kind of look like a dynamic, sort of indefeasible foursome that we're going to take the royal family into the next generation. And I think a part of what's gone with that is they've all genuinely appeared to try to be a bit more open and speak more about themselves and not have that sort of brick wall of silence that the royal family are so used to doing,
Right.
for reasons of protection and keeping the mystery, a little bit of mystery there, which is one of the things I believe the Queen Mother always used to say. You've got to keep a bit of mystery,
Right.
to keep people interested and supportive. And I think, for example, we know that Prince Harry's talks a lot about his feelings about his mental health, and the way that he's had difficulty coping with the loss of his mother and the things that he's had to face since that time. And so I think that maybe they've gone into it looking to be open and be out there and be honest in the way that perhaps a television celebrity maybe, rather than a member of the royal family. And perhaps it's kind of, come back on them a little bit.
Right.
But there was quite a lot of news fairly early on. There was a lot of news that once they'd actually got married, it started to come out that there'd been problems between themselves and in particular between Meghan and Kate. And I think that because people just love Kate so much, perhaps in a similar frame to how they did with Diana, anybody that's going to come up against Kate is going to face some kind of backlash. But I still think that the vilification that she's had from the press has been particularly harsh. I mean, somebody I saw just not long ago picked out, I think it was about 20 or so different items of press comparing a press report for Kate with a press report for Meghan on pretty much the same subject.
Right.
So, for example, there was one where they were talking about the wedding flowers. So they were saying with Kate's flowers, they were saying how beautiful they were and lovely and a very classic choice and well chosen. And with Meghan, they were saying, oh, they're poisonous to children and they just made them wear them in her hair and, what a nasty woman she is. And there was another one where they were talking about Catherine wanted the church to have a really nice smell to it as they went in, so it was scented. And they were saying that, what a lovely idea. When they spoke about Meghan wanted to do the same thing, they were saying about how the church said, you can't do that, this is a historic building, you can't do that, you can't just come in and spray the place, And there was another thing to do with avocados as well, about how
the avocado on toast for breakfast. Thing.
Yeah.
You and I both know, because we've both been victims of the media, and it kind of takes me back to how the media treat Donald Trump, and the media has a lot to answer for in this situation, because what they've done is they've pitted both of them together. Now, I don't want to be mean about Meghan, but I don't think that it was a good thing for her to say that the royal family were racist, because to me, I didn't even know she was black. Did you?
Well, the thing is, it's very difficult for them to say that because a few generations back in the royal family did have people of colour in the royal family,
right,
that married into the royal family. So it's a little difficult for her. Maybe she should have checked her history. There's a lot of talk as well about the press being very racist here, and one or two particular presenters, sort of celebrity presenters. But I think the bottom line is I really do believe that the press should be more neutral. And it feels as though, and you'll have noticed as you were talking about with Trump, or as you know with the politics here in the UK, it seems as though the newspaper bosses are lining their own pockets and making their reporters and editors take sides to create something, to generate something. And I don't think that's healthy in any press. I think the most healthy press, and certainly the only press that I would want to read, are people that just report the facts and say, this happened and that happened and that happened. Not, oh, this happened and we think it should have been this, or, there's certain newspapers here that are very famous for taking a particular side.
But you and I know that sorry, go on.
Yeah.
But you and I know that the media has changed so much from what it was even 20 years ago, that it's not about fact anymore. It's about sensationalism. And whilst I feel that the media has a huge role to play in this, and they are probably 80% to blame, I think that, because when someone marries into royalty and they're not royalty, they're assigned like a coach, basically. And I don't think her coach was doing a good job, because her coach should have said, shut the hell up, lady, Stop telling them so many personal things, because what they do is they take it and they rip that wide open. So, even just exchanging glances with Kate is a feud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe you're right. And the thing is, I think the other thing as well is that there's the added bonus of social media. And I think you and I have spoken about this before, actually, on one of the shows, that there is, for some reason, social media seems to give people the belief that they can say whatever they want,
of course,
regardless of whether they think it's funny or nasty or racist or spiteful,
yeah,
because it's kind of anonymous, and it makes you wonder if you take say 100 people just randomly, either from the press or from the social media on one level or another, who have said nasty and spiteful things about Meghan, and then actually pick them up and put them in a position where they're standing in front of her, and then see if they would actually say the same thing directly to her face and give her the opportunity to respond.
Yeah.
I think it's very likely that the ratio of spite would change very, very much indeed. And I think it's that whole subculture of thinking, I can say what I want because they can't see my face, they don't know my address. And that's just... It's like a downward spiral for humanity.
Isn't it kind of? Doesn't it remind you of the cabaret circuit, circa 1990? Really. So I want to move on. I want to move on a little bit from the royals. Yeah, you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
I want to move on a bit from the royals because in the past couple of years you've done quite a lot of things. You've been in several movies and you've also written a couple of books. I mean, I haven't even written book 2. Where the hell are you finding the time?
Well, the thing is, my debut novel, Where'd You Put Your Willie, which is a comedy novel based kind of loosely, in fact, from the sort of situation and location where I was performing in drag as a drag queen, professional drag queen in London.
Right.
But Where'd You Put Your Willie, of course, for anybody that doesn't understand, is a reference to, I think they call it tucking now, don't they?
Yeah, in the United States they would call it that.
Of course, yeah. So, and I took the title because that was the question that I was asked the most when I was in costume. Of all the years, the quarter of a century that I did it, that was the question that people asked me the most. Where'd you put it? Where'd you put your willy? So so when it came to the end of the book, it kind of left it on a cliffhanger. And I know that a lot of people were quite disappointed about this, and it was kind of planned that way, sort of, but, and then I was thinking, well, I really need to get around to just finishing the story and letting people know what happens. But it just took me a long while to actually get round to it because, as you would know, and anybody who's ever written or attempted to write a book, it's a very solitary thing that blinkers you and kind of, it has the ability to take over your life. And so you've got to find the right time and place to do it. So anyway, eventually I did. And then finally it came out in July. I'd kind of calculated my page numbers because I wanted it to be about the same sort of length and rhythm and style of the first book because it was a sequel.
Yeah.
But I actually miscalculated, so it's about 100 pages longer in the end. But the second book, keeping within the same frame, is called Where's Your Willie Now, which is a very similar reference to the first title. But in the meantime, that came out in July this year. But in the meantime, you may remember that I wrote a column for a magazine called Pink Wire, and it was a monthly column called Adventures of a Drag Queen, and it was kind of like a light-hearted, almost like a diary in a way, sort of, this happened to me, and talking about things that happened to me, and it was very quick, and I think it sort of got quite a nice audience in America as well as in the UK, and then I finished writing the column after 5 years. The magazine closed, and so all these columns were just kind of floating out in the ether somewhere. And so I spoke to the original publisher of the magazine and said, look, I wondered if perhaps I should put this together as a book, because it would be nice for people that hadn't read them or didn't get to read all of them to have something they can hold in their hand and just sit and flick through.
Right.
And because they're magazine columns, they're kind of short, in a sort of, Charles Dickens wrote a lot of his books in that way as a magazine column. And so the chapters tend to be quite short and easy to absorb. So it's kind of like that. So we said, let's go ahead and do it. from the beginning of last year, ready to publish. But the reason that I held back on it until November, which is when it was finally published last year, was because I thought it might confuse people thinking that Adventure of the Dragon was the sequel to the first one.
Right.
If you understand what I mean.
Right. So
I held off until first the complete, which the story was out and published, and then we went with the book in December.
right.
But it's kind of nice that we finally just done it and moving on to other things now.
Exactly. It's kind of a whole achievement when you've spent all that time writing to actually get it out there and start to get it sold. Now, unfortunately, we're running out of time. It always kind of catches up with us. But where can people find your books? Where can people find out more about what you're doing?
Well, the books are available online, especially particularly for this radio show in the States, in the UK, in Australia, and Europe. You can go into any good bookshop and order it, or you can get it on Amazon if you want it posted out to you. Hopefully, there'll be some audio books by the end of this year as well. But you can check everything out on our website, which is jeffchristian.co.uk, and there are links to the books, all the sales sites and everything for the internet and bookshops on there.
Absolutely. You can find out all of Jeff's contact information and his website on the Xander Gibb Show for today, the page on Facebook. But for now, thank you so much. It was great to catch up with you, Jeff. The one, the only, the brilliant Jeff Christian. Thanks a lot, Jeff. You too. Take care. Bye-bye. That was Jeff Christian. Make sure you check him out at jeffchristian.com. And check out his books. They are very interesting. I'm sure they will give you a good giggle. I'm going to do the intros. I think that was my next guest that was calling in. But my next guest, as I said, is Christian Saucier. He was a Navy sailor who had 6 selfies on his cell phone on a submarine. He spent over a year incarcerated, was stripped of his pension, and was deprived of seeing his family for that period of time. And due to a grassroots campaign, he was pardoned by President Donald Trump, no less. And he's going to join us in a moment to tell us where he's at now, what he's doing, and how things are going. I'm sorry if some of you are having audio problems, but there weren't any problems this end. I checked it several times. I checked the broadcast quality, and I checked with the studio, and there are no problems there. I can even see the meter for that. So great to see Andrea in the live feed. And she's just running off to do her show, which is at, I think it's 6 Pacific, which is about 9 Central. So make sure you go and check her out. And Chris is going to join us any moment to tell us a little bit more about where he's at now, what's going on, what he's doing, and how the world is treating him. Oh, yes, Siri, there's another one. So you can take a sip of whatever you're using to play these drinking games. I want to know what these snowflakes are on the screen. I don't know if any of you can see them, but there's a couple of snowflakes on the screen. I just wonder if you other guys can see them too. Maybe it is just me. We hear you loud and clear, and the problem was on the guest side. I don't get that because here we go. This should be Christian Saucier. Hi, Chris. Welcome back to the show. How is the world with you? Hello?
Hi, how's it going?
It is going wonderfully. How is the world with you?
Well, I'm just surviving like everybody else.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, in the, I was just kind of telling people about a little bit about your experiences of having 6 selfies on your phone, and this how it all kind of went out of proportion, and you ended up in jail, and you lost a year of your life because of it. And basically, anyone who's been living under a rock, if they haven't been, they would know kind of the full extent of the story. Now, I was trying to think today how long ago this happened, and in my mind, it's got to be nearly 3 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, everything started in 2012, and it's just been kind of it's for my family and I, it's been still ongoing. But yeah, it's been going on. I was released from prison about 3 years ago.
Right. And what is your because I don't, I've never spent time in prison, and I really hope I don't, but the mental effect of that, I'm sure, wasn't the easiest thing to get over, especially as you shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Yeah, I would say that was probably the most frustrating part, being in there and knowing that it just didn't make any sense for me to have been there,
Right.
And then watching Hillary Clinton, who'd done far worse than I,
Yeah.
running for president while I was sitting in prison.
Yeah.
That made it all the much worse, and that kind of takes it out of you. And being in solitary confinement for no good reason, for long periods of time, that definitely takes it out of you mentally as well. So, I think, the bigger picture here too is looking at not just what prison did, but that it doesn't end there.
No.
They bankrupt you like they're doing to General Flynn right now, and it's so much more than just the 1 year in prison that you spend. It's the rest of your life ostracized because of what they've done to you.
Because they took away your benefits and your pension as a result of this too. Am I right in saying?
That's absolutely right. And, one of the things that I did after being pardoned by President Trump was I immediately went and tried to reapply for my veterans benefits to be able to get my discharge upgraded and be able to receive treatment at the VA for, my service-related injuries.
Right.
And I was denied that by the government that, is supposedly beholden to the commander-in-chief, but apparently the Navy and the Department of Veteran Affairs don't feel that executive orders pertain to them. So, it's interesting to see that, he had to take an active part in ensuring that his orders were followed with Eddie Gallagher. And it seems like, they're basically doing the same thing to me as, Major Goldstein. They basically did the same thing to him. They snubbed Trump's general order, basically pardoning him and allowing him to go on with his life. But the military refuses to acknowledge that. And they're doing that right now with Major Goldstein and with, I'm sure, Clinton Lawrence. So it's just a shame that, he has to fight tooth and nail to get our, and when he pardons you, that should mean that he's excusing, all the detrimental offense. For instance, my discharge from the Navy was a direct result of my civilian conviction.
Right.
They didn't charge me in a military court-martial, which they should have, if they really wanted to, punish me because I was in the military. They charged me in civilian court so they could bankrupt me.
Ridiculous.
And then as a result of that me pleading guilty and accepting responsibility, I was kicked out of the Navy for having pled guilty to a civilian offense. So by pardoning the civilian offense, that should have, in essence, reinstated me in the Navy.
Of course.
And allowed me to re-get my benefits. But, it's just, I'll be honest with you, Xander, it's so much more than that. They not only did they didn't simply just say, we're not going to give you your benefits. The Department of Veterans Affairs has to either characterize your discharge as honorable or dishonorable, and they have to look at your entire service to be able to say it's dishonorable, or they have to give you benefits. Well, they won up the board that kicked me out of the Navy because I was convicted. They said not only because I re-enlisted twice, so I had 3 active tours that they could have defaulted on. They went back and said all 12 years of my service were dishonorable, so that they didn't have to award me any benefits for my service injuries. So they're basically just sticking it in Trump's face, saying,
right.
Look, we don't have to follow an order, and that should be upsetting to everybody.
Absolutely, and not alone the fact that you've served your country. Thank you so much for your service. This is the slap in the face that you're being given for serving your country. Because I know the first thing I thought when I heard about your case and what was going on, there was this huge grassroots campaign to get you out of jail, and to get you a full pardon. And this was, I don't know, it was a very interesting process. And kind of like, as an outsider looking in, the number of people that came to your defense, although there were a lot of a-holes that kind of were not defending you, that level of response must have been very overwhelming for you and your family.
Well, I mean, it was heartening to know that so many people. I've always just tried to, do the best I could to serve my country and stuff like that. But I never ever intended on being this person that so many people knew his name and had a Wikipedia page dedicated to him. I just wanted to live a normal life, and to have so many people come out and support my family and I. It felt good knowing that people like yourself and so many others really took up my case when it felt like everybody had just kind of abandoned us. I'd been abandoned by the military that I'd served for over a decade.
Right.
I'd been abandoned by the government that I'd, served and protected for over a decade. And unfortunately, by a lot of my senior command in the military turned and just, wouldn't take a stand and support me. And so knowing that I had so many strangers out there that really took up my case and were fighting for me it felt pretty good. And,
right.
I'll forever be grateful for everybody that had done that. And, I think those people are all patriots in the sense that they didn't know me, but they knew what was happening to me wasn't right.
Absolutely.
And whether they, supported me, they supported the cause.
Right. Absolutely. Because for me, if I'd heard about what had happened to you and you'd been given a slap on the wrist and maybe a demotion like everybody else, I would have thought, okay, maybe you should, maybe it was a silly thing to do. But the level of response that you received was so out of sync with what everybody else who'd done the same thing had to receive. They clearly were making an example of your case and politicizing it to an extent that it kind of just destroyed your life. Let's face it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, what good did it do? That's what I try asking people, because I have friends that are liberals and I have friends that are conservatives, but right. I try asking people, it's the hard part's not asking people that support what, my cause or,
right.
or, say, hey, what happened to you is messed up. It's the people that are like, well, you shouldn't have done that. Absolutely. You know what? I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I admitted it. I didn't go to trial. I pled guilty. But the bigger picture here is if it's such a bad thing, then why aren't they holding other people accountable for the same way?
Like maybe Hillary Rodham Clinton, for example.
Or James Comey or Andrew McCabe.
Yeah,
those people that have admitted to lying to Congress and admitted to lying to FBI agents. And it's all pretty clear out there. And one of them got a job working for CNN and the other one made multi-million dollars trashing Trump in a book.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the issue in this country is that these people are all protected. And whenever somebody like me, a low-level guy comes out, they say, oh, let's crucify this guy. Well, what good does that do? What good does it do the American public sticking me in prison for a year?
Right.
What good does that do? I fail to grasp that. And I think that's where I think it touches base with even liberals. As you say to them, what good did it do putting me in prison? Did it make the world a safer place? Do you feel better? Because I can tell you right now that since when I started going through all this, I started getting people that supported me emailing me pictures of themselves, basically in the same places on ships as where I had taken the pictures. To stop emailing them to me, I said, "But these are guys from the '60s and the '70s." Let me tell you, people always are proud of their service and will take pictures of what they did. And to make this anything but that. So they twisted this into something where they said, first of all, the biggest slap in the face, which is what I think really what drove Flynn to say, look, I'm going to start really fighting this, because they bullied him like they did me into pleading guilty to a bunch of things that, I accept the responsibility for what I did, but they made me plead guilty to a lot more. One of which is, basically that I willfully disregarded my job, which is untrue. And, because I did nothing but honorably serve my country for over a decade, but also that I violated a position of trust. Okay, so let's take that a step back and say, wait a second, here I am, a lowly sailor, just doing my job, proud of what I do, and take some pictures to have as memories when I'm old. And you've got a person like Hillary Clinton having her staff smash and strip labels and bleach bidding stuff. And she's the Secretary of State, ex First Lady, all these things. That's not a position of trust. But mine was. And they made me plead guilty to that. Same thing as they did Flynn. They basically lambasted the guy and said, oh, you're a dishonor to your country. Well, that's not true. The guy's an honorable war veteran who's given his life to his country. And you're going to some judge is going to trash him and say, oh, these guys, they didn't really believe you were lying, but what, we're going to punish you for it. Well, that's just insane, Xander. And I think that's what most people can grasp, is that this disproportionate, treatment of certain people in this country, it's just not cool. And
Absolutely.
And really everybody needs to take a stand.
Because the two-tier judiciary is so un-American. And when you think about, what you did is a pebble and what Hillary Clinton did is a whole house of bricks, I'm flabbergasted, to say the least, that they can do to you what they should have done to her and leave her where she is, because she should have been stripped of everything. And there's a special place in hell reserved for Hillary Clinton, right next to her husband. But the thing that's always struck me about you is you've not become a hater because of all of this. And I really respect that, because I would resent everybody from the prosecutor to Barack Obama. I mean, I resent Barack Obama anyway, but for other reasons. But you've not gone down that route, as far as I can see.
Well, no, because that only feeds it. I think the more important lesson from everything that's happened to me, if it had to happen to somebody, I guess, go big or go home. It happened to me,
right?
Because I'm able to stand here, and I think General Flynn's going to be in the same position as me, where he's taking a stand.
Exactly.
And we're saying, look, wake up, people. If they can do this to us, they can do it to anybody.
For sure.
And that should scare the living heck out of everybody, whether you're a liberal or conservative, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If this is what we're going to go down as a country, where the justice system can be weaponized against a certain group of people, there's nothing to say that 10 years from now it can't be weaponized against liberals. And so we should be very concerned as a country when there's no checks and balances, when these prosecutors have just free reign and, they can politicize this, and they can just, I'm telling you right now, there was no stopping them. There was no, if I'd gone to trial, it would have been a joke, because they do whatever they want. They get whatever evidence admitted that they want, and then they withhold whatever evidence they want from you so that you can defend yourself. It's just a joke.
It is.
And, somebody like me, I mean, look at General Flynn. I mean, not to say anything negative, but the guy obviously had a lot more money than I did starting off. Well, he's lost it all, and he hasn't even gone to trial. I mean, you see, this is what they do. They systematically break you down, and they strong arm you. They strong armed him into protecting his family. They did the same thing to me. They threatened my family. They went after everybody I cared about. And how is that justice? Just like his lawyer says,
it's not.
Gamesmanship like this doesn't belong in the Justice Department.
No, it absolutely doesn't. Now, I want. Where do you stand legally now? Can you sue for what they put you through? Can you sue to get your benefits back? Because aside of anything else, in my mind, you've earned those benefits. You've helped protect the United States of America, and they took it away from you on a ridiculous technicality. Where do you stand legally with that?
Well, unfortunately, I think you saw when I sued the federal government for basically, unjustly prosecuting me and not prosecuting anybody else for the same crimes, and just basically was trying to call it out for what it was, which has been my stand the whole time. And I think I took a pretty valid stand on that, but what I was told was whether my lawsuit had merit or not, you're not allowed to sue the federal government or any of its, agents,
Wow.
whether it be Comey, disgraced FBI director, or Peter Strzok, who, took part in my case as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't sue them because they're protected by sovereign immunity, which is their little cute way of making sure that they can do whatever they want to us as citizens, and there's no recourse for us. So that's another scary thing. These people have so much power, they can do whatever they want, and then they can turn back around and say, well, we're protected. But look what they can do to the president of the United States, and nobody's defending him.
Exactly.
It's bad. Yeah.
I mean, sovereign immunity is such a bullshit term in my estimation, because what it does is it takes away the responsibility of those who have agreed to serve and protect us and make sure that it's about the law and nothing else. And it's makes a mockery of all of that, as far as I'm concerned. There's quite a lot of people in the chat. I don't know if you're watching the chat, but people are saying thank you for your service, and I just kind of wanted to pass that on, because I think it's important that you know that people are grateful for what you've done. But the other thing that people are asking is, obviously, as a result of this, I became very good friends with your family, your wife and your daughter, and people want to know how they're doing. How is Sadie? How is Cassie? And how are things going in general for you?
Well, we're just trying to survive. We've got a lot of debt, and unfortunately, it's been difficult pulling back out of it without any kind of, any of my benefits and anything like that. Plus,
Right.
Being away for a year and not being able to work. But we're doing good as we can be, Xander. I mean, we're alive, we're healthy, and we're grateful for everything that we have. And I mean, when you've had something like this happen to you, not that I wasn't grateful for everything I had beforehand, but it really makes you grateful for family and for friends like you that, are there for us when we need them. And, just to know that, people that were strangers beforehand really just kind of can take up a cause and really, care about you. Cause, that's really what this is all about. I really hope that if nothing else, my case unites people, like it did around me, and they can see that, hey, look, we have a voice, and, we don't need to be strong-armed by the government. But, all any of us can really hope to do is just do the best we can. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, just take one day at a time. Absolutely.
Now, I'm sure there must be people out there wondering if there's anything that they can do for you. I know that there is still the help chrissaucier.weebly.com page, and people can make donations via that website still. Am I correct in saying?
I believe so. I mean, the biggest thing I think that people could do to help me, to be honest with you, is to just make and help themselves, is to make sure that, in 290 so days, they vote for President Trump, because that's the guy who needs to be in office. That's the guy who cares about us. And
Absolutely.
I mean, and write your congressman and senator what good that does for most of them in Washington are all part of the swamp. But, write them and say, hey, what's happened to this guy? And keep my case out there in the forefront. Say, look, recently we just saw the investigation closed on Hillary Clinton out there in Utah, and it was another sham. People need to keep this out there. Don't let them disappear into the, abyss and just get away with this. I mean, they fleeced the American people, and they should be held accountable. So just keep pushing. That's all you can do.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate everything everybody's done, and you, but just keep on fighting the good fight.
Absolutely. And that's a great place to leave it. I really want to thank you for coming back on, Chris, because people often ask me, how you're doing, what's going on. And it's great to get updates from people. But I'm very humbled by your commentary, because I think that quite often people come through these experiences and they do end up bitter. And I'm glad that you've been able to kind of rise above that. Please give my love to your beautiful wife, Sadie, and to Cassie. Give them my love and take some for yourself. And thank you so much for joining us today. And you have a fabulous 2020. and I wish you, on behalf of myself and the listeners and the viewers, a very happy and wonderful 2020.
Well, thank you, Xander. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot. Take care, Chris.
Okay.
Right. That was Christian Saucier. Make sure you go to his website, helpchrissaucier.weebly.com. That link is on the Xander Gibb show page for today. And if you go and check that out, you'll be able to make a donation to him, because as you heard, he's still in financial straits. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to everyone in the live feed. Thanks to everybody who's listening on the radio stations. I really do love you all. Thanks to Jeff Christian, my first guest, and my second guest, Christian Saucier. We will be back next week at the same time. Please click the share button before you go. It doesn't bite. Have a wonderful and safe weekend, and I really do love you all. I do. Bye-bye.
Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were ever bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and era don't dictate.
Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show.